Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Jambo, and welcome to another episode of Photo Chats with Nats. My name is Nathalie, and I'm a professional photographer based here in Johannesburg, South Africa. When I first picked up photography, I shot on film. It was actually only in my mid-30s that I started shooting on digital cameras. Today, I would like to share with you why I think that creating personal memories is really, really important. I touched on it in last week's episode on Friday when I was talking about creating personal projects for yourself and creating and shooting images for yourself. Today, I want to dig a little bit deeper into this because I want to specifically talk about creating personal images and the importance of it and how it happens that moments then become memories and how you can set up yourself to make sure that you create a personal memory bank. Also, I will obviously share with you what we are going to talk in the next show. So it all started during the festive season when we were together looking at old personal family photographs that my father had created throughout his lifetime. My sister was here visiting from Germany, and as it so is, you talk about old times, and so we pulled out photographs and looked at, an extensive collection of my father's images. And it is always such a wonderful, pleasurable time to share these times, anything from baby photos to photographs, as young adults in a different time, and you romanticize over those images, and they bring back wonderful moments and memories and start conversations about all sorts of things that maybe sometimes you've even forgotten. And this is really where I realized I need to talk about this, because it is so important and is so enjoyable, and it adds so much to my personal memory that, you really, really need to, hear this. So it is when you create images for yourself, and not only when you create personal images as such in projects for yourself, but photographs of your family, of the people around you, of the surroundings around you, of holidays, of just ordinary moments that you choose how you see them, how you want to create them, and how you want them to be memorized. So it is really, as you see those moments, it's not a project, it's not a commissioned work where someone else tells you this is how you need to photograph it, this is how it needs to come out, but it is really up to you how you represent those moments. So it is really, I call it honest and authentic, the way you capture these personal moments. And they turn into family stories. They tell, how it was when you were growing up, when your children go to school, when they start riding a bicycle. All those milestones really make up this, what becomes like a visual inheritance. It is what my dad gave my sister and I, that he left behind after his passing. And it takes up a huge, big space in me. I have very few relatives left. As a matter of fact, my sister is the only one. So there is a lot that needs to be, held as memories and photographs. And I am so grateful to have all of those. Also, the older these images get, or the older I get, the more important these images become, because they really are from a very different time, from historically a different time, and also a different mindset that I was in, certain things that I didn't even become aware of until I'm much older. So it is really, this moment in time, which seems a little bit corny when you say it on in an everyday life. But in this kind of a context, it is really true and really important. So I wanted to just share a couple of those family photos with you, just to point out what it is that I actually mean. That, when I look at one of these images of, when I start riding a bicycle without support wheels, I guess, and I can see, not only the fact that I'm riding this bicycle, but there are cars parked on the road, the buildings, the clothing that I wear, the shoes, etc., which, really tell a story and are really important to bring me back into those days. Even more so in this photograph, which is a kind of like a family photograph from my grandmother, which dates back a very long time. I think it's actually even before the First World War. So that is a very different time. And there is a lot of detail in this photograph, from, the way her father is dressed, sitting there, and, the Christmas decoration. And all of those things really tell a story of their own and what these times were all about. And this photograph of my mom in first or second grade in primary school, which I think is an absolute treasure for so many different reasons. I'm trying not to get sidetracked here, but there are so many details in this image, apart from the fact that the way these kids are clothed, but also the way they, behave. Just think about first or second grade in today's age. It would be very different. Obviously, this is, a very conservative school and upbringing in those days. It is in the 1950s. But even the way this photograph is taken, I think, is phenomenal. But I think this is maybe a topic for another day. Jumping into a more recent memory of mine, this is my parents, my dad in the foreground of, the 80s. I'm a little girl, but I can clearly remember very good family friends of ours, our dog in the background. This is our garden. And the garden furniture, I can still even, now that I look at the the table, I can even still remember all those pieces of furniture, even the flask of coffee in the foreground on the floor, as well as all the little daisies that were always growing in the grass that drove my dad nuts, because he wanted to have this perfectly manicured English lawn, which we never had. So all of these contribute. Here, this image is my mom in a very young age. I think this is my dad and her had just kind of met, and she's sitting with the wife of my dad's best friend at the time. And this is, again, is such a reminder of those days, from the bookshelf at the top. And then if you can see it at the headboard, there are these beautiful retro lamps that are, back in fashion. And all the way to the door handle and the telephone intercom on the side. So, yeah, these all create visual and moments in time, historic times, very historic. Obviously, also my mom, here she is younger again, before she met my dad. And this is, as far as I know, my dad's, my grandfather's car. It's obviously, very old. The license plates these days also look very different. Looking at my mom's shoes, the way she's dressed, and even her hairstyle, all of these, take you back into a different time and tell a story of very different times compared to today. So how does it happen that moments become memories apart from, capturing historical moments? And I'm not saying that you now need to go out and capture and freeze history and make documentaries of your family photography. It's really just a side product of what can happen when you take lots of photographs of, ordinary moments at the time. And I'm going to have a look at some other examples of really snippets and what you could imagine at the time rather insignificant moments and photographs. But over time, they really become and have become in my personal photograph collection very special to me. So this photograph, for example, is just, some random shot of my mom, my sister, her friend, and I walking up the dunes on a, summer holiday on the way to the beach. But for me, this really unlocks so many memories. And this is why this image has become so special to me. I can really feel the hot tar under my naked feet. I can feel the heat of the sun already up on the horizon, because in those days we never really got up very early. So we would get to the beach, in the early afternoon, I guess. And looking at my mom, I can remember the clothes that she was wearing, the bag that she carries. I still even remember the texture of it and how it feels. And all these memories are unlocked when I look at this picture. So that is absolutely priceless for me. There are not very many of those. Similar to this image, it is much later when I'm a late teenager. I'm in the States. I went there for a year as an au pair, and my parents came to visit. And now we're sitting on this bench. We are traveling together through the country. And this is a scene that you would probably not come across anymore today, because my mom's looking at a map. A retro, virtual, literally a paper map, not something that we do anymore these days. And I think I'm flipping through some tour guide of the area. But what makes this image so very special is the moment that we shared together. My mom's not around anymore. She passed away when I was, very young, 22. And so obviously all the images that I have with my mom are very, very precious to me. And just seeing this random scene just sparks so many memories. And please note, I'm wearing a black Converse shoes also at the time. In an episode earlier in the series, when I was talking about having fun, I mentioned that I wore those throughout my life and still have a pair today. So here's some proof of that. On to a different time in, earlier teenagehood. There's me standing at the edge of the frame with my mom, and, the center of the image is somewhere different. But for me, this moment that I share with my mom is a special one. And, the fact that it's, off-center and blurred is really not important to me at all. It's just, the entire scene that, again, reminds me of a special time way back when. Then in a time that I can't actually really remember, but it's a scene of a summer holiday at the beach. We did this quite regularly, very privileged growing up, I guess, in Europe, going to the beach on a regular basis and just, sharing these moments. But to see us together in those times wrapped around in towels with my sister and my mom is, another very, very special moment to me. And everybody else who would see this picture wouldn't really think anything of it. A little bit of a different reason why I want to show this picture is the fact that there is so much in this image. It's not only the fact that my mom's sitting on the couch knitting, but everything that's around her that makes this image so special for me. So anything from the bookshelf that's behind her, I can see my dad's pipe collection on the shelf, which you may not necessarily notice if you don't know. But it's very obvious to me, and the kinds of books that are on the shelf, the images on the wall, the couch, the wallpaper, and then in front of my mom, the coffee table that very prominently features her cigarettes that she smoked, the cups on there, and all of those things spark memories in me. So I'm very grateful that all of those things are actually in this picture. That, it is not an image where, today maybe you would be tempted to focus only on my mom and the rest of the picture would be blurry and out of focus, which, would lose all of the details. Another picture is a family portrait that I insisted on taking because I was going to Sunday school and I needed a family photograph, which we had very few of because my dad was always the one taking photographs. Maybe that rings a bell. And so we didn't have many pictures of all of us in one photo. So this is an attempt at taking one of those. I still remember this moment very clearly. And therefore, this picture is very precious to me, however imperfect it is. More imperfection, perfect imperfection, is this image. It's huge as far as emotional value is concerned, because this is my mom and I sharing a moment here. And as I mentioned, she's no longer around, and so these kinds of images are very, very special to me. If you see and look at this image a bit more closely, you can tell that my mom and I aren't actually really in focus. But that's completely beside the point and doesn't take away from the value that this image has to me. Similar to this, which is showing my mom in very early years where she's, having a moment. I can tell that she's probably listening to some music and really enjoying it, and this is how she would laugh when she was having a really good time. And that is just, so heartwarming for me. I absolutely love this photo of her. And there are so many things that are technically wrong with this image, but I really don't care. It really doesn't make a difference to me whatsoever. So thank you for allowing me to share these images with you so that I can really, bring home the fact that it's these in-between moments, these imperfect captures that you take that become really, really precious memories over time. And I want to just point out a few common points that I picked up that these images share, just to, bring it home. So these images are all shot, or most of them are shot with a wide angle. So they really show everything the way you see, with the human eye. And that captures a lot of a scene. So that makes them a lot more important. As an example here, this is going way back. This is a photograph of my dad's when he is in the army in Algeria. So a very, very different, landscape altogether. You can see the soldier standing there in the corner of the image, in the bottom left, which gives a bit of context to the image, and it's, a wide angle, so you capture a lot in one scene, which I think is really important and contributes. Also, these images share that they are very deep in the depth of field. No shallow depth of field, everything out of focus, blurry, milky background with lots of bokeh. It is the detail that makes for these memories. This is me sitting on the beach as a little chubby toddler. And it's the whole image that makes for the memory. It's, from, sitting on this blanket with the air mattress and my bucket with the shovel that I can still remember, and seeing how other people lie on the beach. They also have umbrellas. You can clearly see that there's a road in the background. There are palm trees lining the streets. And the way the houses were built, you see the houses have shutters, traditional shutters. This is in the south of France somewhere. And the shutters are closed. It must be, kind of like afternoon maybe. So the people close the shutters to keep the sun out, etc., etc. So there is so much detail in these pictures. And you can see that because it's shot, on purpose with very deep depth of field. And, just keep that in mind when you create images in future. Also, images are captured with a lot of context. Similar to, deep depth of field, it means, that you take an image and the surroundings are really telling part of the story. This is, I hope my sister forgives me, a photograph of her first birthday. But I thought it was really bringing the whole point home, because she's there in her, crib or whatever. And you can see it's her first birthday because there's a birthday candle on the table. There's cake, there's coffee, there is a present, this tower with these cups, a birthday card in the background as well. So it really tells a story how it's my sister's birthday, and all of these elements play a role in telling the story. So looking at all these images of my family history, I want to, draw a lesson from that and share with you how I think you can create similar family memory banks, as I call them, for yourself, to, start now and create something that will live for a very long time and will become part of the inheritance that you may pass on or just share with other family members and friends in future. I think to keep it simple, I've been speaking about that a couple of times already in the series, is that if you have one camera and one wide lens, you make it easy for yourself to capture a lot of images. It's important that you pick up the camera all the time, and wherever you go, you create some photographs, because you never know. It's these in-between moments that become memories, and the more you have your camera with you and the more you shoot and capture those moments, the higher the chance that you will create long-lasting memories. The context is unbelievably important to make sure that you will tell a story with depth, literally, so that you understand where you were at the time, when you're a little child, what toys you were playing with, or what other kids you're playing with, what you were doing, where you were, what's around you. Is it books? Are there, maybe a TV or maybe a computer, or those kinds of things that today I look in my family photographs and I see an old radio or a TV and old books, and maybe in today's kids' worlds there's an iPad and a computer screen, and who knows when our kids look at those images in 20, 30 years' time, what they think is normal, and an iPad may be antiquated. Scary thought. But all of those things are really important. The same as I think you should be mindful to not take out those exact points in your images, but to really shoot the image as it is. Because it's exactly those imperfections that make these moments so special. So don't over-edit your photographs, but rather make them honest representations of the times that we live in and the moments that we experience. When you think of crazy family functions, it is exactly those times that will become so special. When, who knows, maybe someone is running through the frame while you're taking the picture, and that, as imperfect as at the moment it seems, may make for some really special memories because it tells the story within a story. Very, very important to start with right away is that you organize and curate your photographs. The more images we collect, the more important it is that we have a structure, that we can navigate through them, that we can actually tell the story over time. And if there is, an organization in place, it helps not only you, but also other people. Maybe these images, will have to be handed over to someone when you're not around anymore. And if they are organized, it will help to everyone to really enjoy those photographs a lot. So keep that in mind and start straight away, because if, the more images come together, the more difficult it will get and time consuming to navigate through those. So today's the day to start with all of that. And I hope that this has given you a little bit of inspiration and tips on how to start this, because I cannot emphasize enough how unbelievably important family memories are. As always, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer all of them, whether it's online or offline. Shoot them my way. I'm more than happy to help with everything and anything photography related that you may need answers to. Going from one big topic and important burning topic to the next is printing your photographs, is what I will be looking at on Friday. And, once we've created all these beautiful memories, what do we do with them? So we will talk about all of that on Friday. And please make sure that you don't miss out on this and other upcoming shows. If you enjoy the show and like my channel, you are more than welcome to subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell to make sure that you get all the updates and stay up to date with what's happening on my channel. And you don't miss a next show. You are more than welcome to share this with other friends and like-minded people who you think may benefit from these snippets of mine. And this is it from me for today. I will see you again on Friday, again at 9 o'clock in the morning for your, second or third morning coffee, or whatever other time it is, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It's been my absolute pleasure to chat with you. I hope you enjoyed the show and you will join me again for the next one. For now, it is goodbye from me. Have a wonderful day. Take